The reason I'm here is a lot of kids like you are getting assaulted in school, on their way to and from school, at home. And violence is a subject that unfortunately not too many people talk about, especially when we talk about the broad range of violence that we're going to discuss today. I'm not talking only about assault, but I'm talking about a whole spectrum of things. When I was as young as all of you are, I had to put up with schoolyard violence. I had to put up with violence to and from school. I had to put up with violence at home. So at my first opportunity, I started to study karate. But you know what I found out is some of the things that you all said. There's always somebody bigger and tougher than you are. I find it out every time I compete in karate. And also, violence is much more complex than the physical arena. So what happened was, over a period of time, I developed a way of looking at violence that was separate from a martial arts approach. And the reason I'm here is because I have this unique approach to dealing with violence. It takes into account the wide range of violence that we might encounter. And also it also points us toward assessing a situation and trying to prevent violence, and then physically managing it in a gentle sort of way. Now, the vehicle that I use to teach people this idea is the acronym SMART, S-M-A-R-T. Now, those 5 letters stand for a series of 5 principles. And I'm going to start to explain these 5 ideas to you. And you're going to see that they're, while it might be interesting, they're not new to you. And that's one of the things I like about it. It's not new. It's something that many of you have thought about already. S stands for staying one step ahead. What do I mean by staying one step ahead? How about Bonnie? I'll start over here.
It's like, I don't know, you use like your brain, like not really that, but you just like stay out of violence as much as you can. Like you don't start it with others. Like,
right,
so
don't start a problem. Use your brain, yeah.
You anticipate things that can happen.
Yeah, anticipate things.
And then you'll have time to think it over to yourself.
Yes, right, anticipate things.
You should anticipate, but you should also be able to assess situations. You should think about them before they happen.
Yes, right. The most important part of this is to understand this. You're never isolated. You're always communicating to the world around you. What message you're communicating is important. But you always are communicating. Say, Vernon, could I use you?
Sure you can.
All right, good. Okay, good. These are your friends, huh, these guys? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm going to push you. You ready? Okay, good. All right. And you know now that I'm not going to push you, right?
Yep.
All right. Okay, thanks. No, I said I'm not going to push you, right?
Yeah, but his body said something else.
Oh, yes.
Come in.
Well, I was telling you that you're going to try to push me, but you're going to have a hard time doing it.
Oh, that's right. He says, I'm going to resist. But I told him with my words, there's nothing to resist. But the point is what? My body talks to his body. And his body listens regardless of whether his ears listen or not, which is important for you to know. This is important understanding for you. If you get a gut feeling, it's your body listening to somebody else's body or some other bodies. His body knew that I was playing a trick, right? He got a gut feeling. His muscles started to operate. If you get a gut feeling, go with it. Stay one step ahead. This means to pay attention to your situation. In the case we just saw, it means knowing that the person's body language is transmitting some hostile intention. Pay attention to that and plan what you're going to do if you're confronted with a situation that you think may occur. The next letter in the SMART acronym is what? M. All right, M. M stands for move one step at a time. A lot of people ask me, Kirk, what do you do if somebody pulls a knife on your gun? Rule number 1 is this, no fast moves. Rule number 2, don't use your karate or your judo or anything like that. Rule number 2 is talk. So you talk to the guy, and if he says do something, you do it. Okay? That's rule number 3. Because there isn't any chance of you getting the knife away from me, because you have to figure this. You have to figure this. If I'm some street kid and I got a knife, who knows how to use a knife better, you or me? The street kid with a knife. That is when you're moving one step at a time. You're assessing the situation by looking. You're going to listen. You're mostly going to listen to the content of what it is they say. You're going to test what their responses are to your initial reactions. You test people so that you know whether or not your plan is a pretty good idea or not. Move one step at a time. Many of us have a tendency to react really rapidly in a stressful situation, and this can cause more problems than it solves. What we want you to do is assess the situation early enough so that you have a chance to move one step at a time. First you look. Where are the exits? How many people are there? What's going on around you? Listen. What's the content of the words, of course? What's the person saying? But also, what do they mean? And you can also listen for the tone of voice and the pitch, to try to get a feel for where this person is. Is he just about ready to punch you in the nose, or is he still working up to it? And last, we talk about testing. If you're in a bad situation and you maybe just tentatively sort of stand up, what happens? Does he stand up too or not? If he doesn't stand up, maybe you can walk away. So you look and you listen and you test. You move one step at a time. All right, so that's the one step at a time business. Let's go to number 3. We're talking about the letter A, which stands for the word accelerate. The concept is 0 to 100. 0 to 100 is the idea that you don't do anything, and then you do everything. If you're standing in a doorway, you're looking outside, right? You're looking through a window, and say your car's, in the lot, just across the street. And there's some kids on the corner, and they look like they've been having a good time, right? Maybe they've been doing a little dope or been drinking or something. And you say, well, I'd rather not spend a lot of time walking, over there by those guys and going around getting in my car. 0 to 100 is the idea that you have your keys in your hand. And what you do is, quietly but briskly, you open the door, down the steps, across the street, you're in your car, and you drive away. You know what I'm saying?
I think it means that you just don't hesitate doing things and don't sit there like, oh, what am I supposed to do? You do it.
We're talking about a decision-making process. If you make a decision, go with it. Accelerating 0 to 100. You know what your options are. You've formulated your plan. Just take a deep breath and do it. Carry out your plan. Refocus the attention. What do you think I mean when I say refocus the attention? Give me an example, maybe?
This is very, very cliche and overused and stereotype, but if somebody's intimidating, you go, look over there! And it's extremely cliche, but it's it's an example.
That's an example, right. This happened to me once. I was pumping gas in my car, right? Stopped at some, one of these 7-Eleven chains kind of things, right? Self-service kind of thing, and I'm pumping the gas. And it's July, and about 6 guys on bikes roar up. And I'm in my little cut-off shorts, and my sandals, and I look pretty Mickey Mouse, I guess. Anyway, these guys come up and said, boy, we're going to have fun with this guy. And I could see it coming a mile away. Okay? The guy's driving up. He's got his old lady on the back, and he's tossing beer cans into the trash can from 50 feet, and his bike is going like this. These guys are trouble. All right, I'm pumping gas. These guys roar up to me. Guy gets off his bike. I stop pumping gas and say, wow, man, what a bike! Where did you find something like that around here? We're talking about motorcycles instead of what fun it's going to be to jerk this guy's chain for 5 minutes. Do you understand what I'm saying? I redefine the situation into a situation that I was in control of rather than one they were in control of.
Refocus the attention. I think we use a lot. If there's a tense situation, if someone makes a joke and everyone laughs, then it's all over, really.
Yeah, you can help somebody to save face, right? If I'm getting all bad in somebody's face and somebody cracks a joke, maybe then I say, hey, all right, and I can focus here and I don't have to punch you in the nose, which is what I was building toward. You help me to save face by venting a little, yes. It might stay in the back, we might still have to deal with it, but right now, things are a little cooler. Refocusing the attention. Once again, this idea simply puts you in control. You probably have had some experiences that weren't so aggressive or hostile in your life when you've just been a little uncomfortable and you simply change the subject. Somebody was talking about something that you didn't want to talk about, or trying to get you to do something that you didn't want to do, and you simply change the subject. And in one way, that's all I'm talking about. But the important thing here is that you do this early enough so that you're really designing the situation to suit your own needs. Don't wait until the situation has developed into one that you're in danger for your own well-being. Early on, as soon as you know something might happen, that's when you start to redefine the situation. That's when you refocus everybody's attention so that the situation turns out the way you want it to. The last letter, as I promised, is T, standing for taking control and together. I know that date rape is a real problem in a lot of areas where, you know what happens. A guy gets all excited, you go to Lover's Lane or behind the fence or wherever you're going, you know, and in a city it's harder to find a place to be away, but you found some secluded place. I know if I wanted to, I always found one. It doesn't matter how crowded the place is. And I'm saying, oh boy, yes, yes, yes. And she says, yes, yes, yes. And I say, oh boy. And she says, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I say, all right. And she says, stop. Subject. A young woman.
She changed her mind. Maybe she wanted to at first. Maybe she changed
And the
her
man
mind.
should respect that. That's what
That's right. But the point is this. See, the point is this. It's her body, and whatever she says goes. This girl can take control. She can redefine the situation, and she can take control of the situation. The point is, you have to think about it now so that when the time comes, it's not the first time you've been in that situation. You maybe have a little bit of a plan. But I just want you to know this, that because you're being aggressed upon doesn't mean that you have a problem, right? Say, I don't like your face. Doesn't mean you have to run home and make your face different. It means I have a problem. So you should be aware of the fact that you're okay. It's just as we were talking about before. If we have a sexual aggression problem, we have a date rape kind of situation where you have to really force me away from you, and maybe we're not friends anymore, and maybe that's too bad. You don't have to soul search and say, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? It's not her. If I'm the aggressor, it's my problem. Okay, and that should be pretty clear to you, so you don't have to feel badly about being a victim. Now, the last idea is together. And I think together we stand a heck of a lot better chance of acting like civilized people and still not having to be paranoid about this whole thing. A simple thing that a couple of women told me once, they have a procedure that they use. Say they go to a football game at night. They're going home. They live about 4 blocks away from each other. Mary and Jane walk home together. Mary drops Jane off at her house. Jane says to Mary, 5 minutes from now, I'll call you. So what's Mary do? She gets home. 5 minutes later, Jane calls her. She's home. Everything's cool. If she's not home yet, Jane does what? 2, 3 minutes. She calls again. Now, if Mary's not home now, what can we do? 3 minutes late, we can do what? We can go out and find her or do something. Talk to her mother. Say hey to her mother. Hey, you should be looking out. Mary should be coming down the street. Not the next day when Mary doesn't show up for school, which is 12 hours or 16 hours too late, but right then. Everybody clear? That's what T is all about. The more friends you have, the more security you're going to have. And the more friends, if he is my friend and he's there, he's a lot more likely to help me than this person who doesn't know me. And that's only reasonable. That's only reasonable. Together, we have more of a sense of community, and we can really avoid a lot of the situations that come down the pike by getting to know one another. All right, what I want for all of you to take away with you is the idea that knowledge makes all the difference. The idea behind the SMART concept is that you integrate these 5 principles. That in advance, You stay one step ahead. As you're making a plan, you move one step at a time. You look, you listen, you test. After you've decided what to do, you don't hesitate and mumble to yourself and be wishy-washy. You go out and you do it. One of the things you might be doing is refocusing the situation or redefining the situation, putting it into some context that you can control. And overall, we'd like to think that as a group, especially, you should be able to be a lot smarter than the bad guy, even if you can't be stronger than him. So, stick together. You know how to stay one step ahead. You know how to move one step at a time. You know how to make a quick decision, say, which way should I go? Boom, and go that way. And you know how to redefine the situation. And make the situation work for you as best you can. So taking control, sticking together, looking out for each other is the kind of thing that I want you to take away from this. And you can help lead a class discussion. Okay, I want you to have good luck, and I hope that you never have to use much of the things that we talked about. But if you do, stay cool and be smarter than the guy, not necessarily tougher than the guy.